It won. Yeah, so we finally got it, y'all. Hi.
Oh my,
welcome
really?
To the
We're
Cave.
starting off with hi, welcome to the, I would have taken it. I feel like we should start again. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Woman's Cave! There we go.
Okay, all right, sure. Yes. I'm glad you had, it's probably because you had lunch and I did not.
Yes, that's very, very true.
Yeah, it's probably like, I'm probably in like a hangry place, I guess.
Yeah, no, she was driving home and she was free. And yeah, she forgot where we were going like 3 times. We've done 3
I did.
it was beautiful. I saw the light the same 3 times. I was like, oh, it's still red and cute. Okay.
You know what, Winona? I have no time for this. I'm Jade.
I'm Winona. And hey, we remember to introduce ourselves.
Oh wait. Let me just drink.
No.
Alcohol.
Take a shot. That's much better than a high five.
It is better than a high five, and it feels like I ate something.
Haha. That's true. Oh, by the way, you guys, we wrote books.
Yeah,
we don't call them books.
So
what we call them?
We call them literary life guides with pop poetry. It's just our fancy way of saying we probably wrote boring like poetry books. Anyway, we're gonna be fancy about it though, right?
Yeah.
Literary life guides with pop poetry. That's what we wrote.
So you can get the And I Thought Divorce Was Bad, And I Thought Being Grown Up Were Easy. They're both audio books. And then my favorite little book right here. Yay! That's
Would you please stop destroying my set? I literally took time to do this set.
Yeah, she did. That's also available on audible.com. And then the rest of everything else, like the 13 other And I Thought books, they're there on Amazon.com and BarnesandNobles.com.
Yeah, and then the 25
guides.
hottest and the authors, artists, and advocate, and our other literary magazine is there. Like, you can find out everything, and I do mean everything and probably too much information on about your ladies on www.andwethought.com.
So not plugging about us. We have a co-host today, and no, it's not Miss Tanya Todd.
It is someone else. It's Sarah Smith. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I would love to. Thank you, Jade and Winona, for having me on again. I'm Sarah Smith. I'm a romance and rom-com author of the books Faker, If You Never Come Back, and the soon-to-be released Simmer Down.
Yes, she was on our show earlier this year. And so you should listen for that. Where's your website?
So my website is sarahsmithbooks.com. So you can go on there and find information on my books, excerpts, pre-order, order, everything.
So if you did listen to that show, you know why we had to have this show today.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, but we're gonna let our other wonderful guests introduce themselves.
Oh, it's my turn?
Yeah,
okay.
Your turn!
Hi, I'm Camilla Monk. I'm primarily known as the author of the Spotless series. My website is camillamonk.com. And I actually write in other genres. It actually shifts randomly from book to book. So I've also written fantasy and also grimdark.
Yeah.
So like really grimdark.
Well, I mean, it's Camilla.
It is Camilla.
She can do it.
She can do that. And pull it off wonderfully.
I know, right?
I know. Anyway.
Oh, just FYI, this is like Winona's favorite author, one of her favorite authors. Definitely on the top 5, probably like the top 3.
2. She's number 2.
Oh, you're top 2. See what I'm saying? Top.
She did what I wish I could do correctly. Write a romance novel that is awesome and kicks butt and never slows down.
Yeah.
It's so great. Okay.
Sure, yeah.
Moving on, and let me stop being fangirl, is minus that one mistake that I never going to talk about again.
Don't talk about it.
Because I said the last time I saw her in person, I said I would never mention it again.
Don't do it. Don't mention it again.
I know what's coming. Go ahead.
Not my name. So I want to know how you came up with Island Chaptal.
Actually, Chaptal, her last name, is actually the name of the street where my father's office was back in Paris. So that's where her last name came from. And actually, she coalesced from several characters. I tried to write Spotless several times over. I used to say, and it's the truth, that it went through 43 versions before you saw it as it is today. And so she's a mix of several characters, and there was obviously a reference to Japanese animation in her character, you know, being so ditzy and innocent, and it was meant sort of as a parody of that kind of character, because I thought that it would be so fun to throw such a character into a thriller, and I wonder what it would look like, and that's how it came to be. She's like this ditzy anime girl, sort of, thrown into a really dark thriller where you pull no punches.
Wow. How do you do your action scenes?
I use 3D software, and usually I try to visualize scenes in my head, and to make them more realistic, I use 3D software so that I can visualize where everyone is in a room. Like if you shoot a bullet, where is it going to hit? If you have two cars driving side by side, what are you going to see when you're located in the back, in the passenger seat? What can you see from there? And since I write first person, I need for Island to be my camera. So that's what I do. I use 3D scenes so that I'm able to realistically tell what she's seeing and what she's not seeing. And that's how I decide to have her hear something, register something, and infer what's going on, or actually tell us that this is what I'm seeing from where I'm standing.
Lovely. Now I'm going to, we have a co-host and she's been sitting there quietly, and I promised her that she can actually fangirl and geek out like I did the first time I met Camilla. So Sarah Smith, it's all you.
Yes, take it away, Sarah.
Did you guys both write romance at this point?
Exactly, we're both.
Yes, you do. Very, very different. I could never write like amazing action romantic suspense like Camilla does. She's amazing at it. First of all, Camilla, I want to say thank you because, okay, so I stumbled upon your books like 3 years ago, and I started reading them in the fall, and I like binge read the first two in the Spotless series, and then I bought your third one, and then Amazon was having like a weird glitch. So I tweeted at Amazon because I was so mad because I wanted to read the third book. Like this was like the night before Thanksgiving in the United States. So like I had nothing to do. I'm like, I just want to read this book, and I couldn't download it. And you were so nice. You found me on Twitter, and you're like, I'll send you a link to my book if you want. And I was like, oh my God, that's so nice of you. So, but Amazon ended up getting it resolved and it was fine. But I just want to say thank you, first of all. You probably don't remember that, but thank you for helping me with that glitch problem and helping me get your book on.
You're more than welcome. And actually, it's me who should thank you for reading my books. It's, it's the other way around.
Oh my God, no. And again, I also have an apology because after I read your first 3 books, and then I read the novella that you wrote after Butterfly and Amber, I would like constantly tweet like, all I want for Christmas is an HBO miniseries based on the Spotless series. Like I would just tweet like weird things about you, or not about you, but about your book. So sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
But wait,
I tweet a lot of weird shit too.
No, I love it. I just like, when Jade and Winona were like, oh, we would love it if we could arrange something for you guys to come on, and Camilla, you can meet her and ask her questions. Like, oh, I would love that, but I have a lot to apologize for because I was creepy.
I don't know if it will ever happen. Actually, I got contacted about it by a guy, and it was legit. The problem was that he contacted me right before COVID started. And I haven't heard about him since.
Oh,
so
no.
Tough luck.
Oh my God. I would love that. Yeah, like that's actually like one of my questions I wanted to ask you. If the Spotless series were turned into something like a movie or a series, have you thought about who you would like to cast?
I never do that. This is the question that I get a lot from readers. And I never do that. First, because the image I have in my mind are usually not real people. They look more like drawings. I don't picture them as actual persons. And also because I forbid myself from going there because I feel that it would be reaching too high and busying my mind on something that's probably never going to happen, and that it would be building myself up for something that's totally elusive. So yeah, usually every time readers, I'm sorry because I'm not answering your question and I apologize for that, but yeah, every time someone asks me that, I say that I don't have an answer to that.
Oh, that's okay. I can kind of understand how you don't want to like jinx anything, or like you don't want to let yourself dream about something that might never happen. But for a really long time, I was fantasizing about Tom Hiddleston as March. So that's where my head is.
Why not? Why not?
That's amazing. Oh, I forgot to put in this one point about Camilla's book, right? So I was actually the one that started reading it. And Winona and I, like, we are best friends in the whole world, but our book tastes are like so far apart. Like, there's only, I think, 5 books that we agree on that we each individually like. And like 3 of them are Camilla's books. So it's really kind of, and I was the one that started reading it, and I said, oh, actually it was on Audible, and I was like, you gotta listen to this. And I'm like, just sign into my Audible account and listen to this thing. And she was like, this woman is genius. I said, right? She's genius.
So I also want to say, Sarah, we have heard Camilla's pitch for HBO.
And this is nice.
And I like it. I especially love the stick figures.
Yes.
I thoroughly enjoyed that. In fact, the person that you were pitching, they mentioned the stick figures.
Yes,
yes, actually we did this show that was 2 years ago. And I was asked to pitch Spotless, and what I do usually when I'm asked to do that is use my stick figures. So I prepared but papers where I draw basically the series. Well, everybody knows my stick figures. Regrettably, they've become infamous.
I think they're wonderful.
Regrettably, I think it's like awesomely or like dopely.
Exactly. Yes.
They become
famous. Sarah, it's back to you.
Back to you.
No. It's like I'm glad you guys jumped in, because I remember that you guys saying that like Camilla's books are like some of the few that you guys actually like together. So
yeah. So in truth, like I actually when I was 12, I was aiming to write something like that, because I love the Tom Clancy, but he writes way too slow. And then you love a murder mystery, but a lot of them are slow. And then you love a thriller, but a lot of them are like way up here. And then you have to go and research everything. And then you're like, can I just have a titch of love in here? And then Camilla just comes along with both. How did you sell that idea, Camilla? How long did it take you to find an agent?
It actually was very quick. I found an agent in about 3 months, and then it took about 3 or 4 months for the book to sell. So that was actually very quick. It found an acquisition editor who was willing to champion it, and that was very quick. However, she quit shortly afterwards, and the publisher kind of dropped the ball. The editor who came after her was not really interested in the series at all. So they ended up kind of dropping it without promoting it, and we had a bit of a fight over it, and I got my rights back. And so starting from book number 3, I went indie, and unfortunately for them, the series took off at book number 3. So I usually like to say that I sold 10,000 copies with my publisher, and then I sold 150,000 on my own. And they should not have dropped that 3rd book. That was a mistake.
Well, I know you're happy because that looks nice.
Yeah, check was a lot better than
it would have with a publisher. So
yeah, actually, I really like being in control, having all that creative control.
Absolutely, and I like that about being an indie artist. I mean, well, notice like, hey, we can go traditional.
I'm trying. I'm really trying to go traditional because I'm tired.
It was very interesting because when COVID first started, I said to myself, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna redo my book covers. Like I couldn't do that if I was traditionally published. Like, I would have to like make all of these things.
Absolutely.
I literally got an artist, and if y'all check out "And I Thought the Voice Was Bad," like the new cover, that is like an indie artist out here, and she drew it, and I made it into a book cover, and it is fabulous. Like I couldn't have done it any better.
Okay, now okay, go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
This is your show.
It's y'all's shows.
So I was just going to say that speaking of covers, I will have something to show you later.
What?
Speaking of artists and covers.
Sarah, so you both write romance, in a way.
But they both write romance.
Yeah, you both write romance. So what do you find are the key components to making sure that the romance stays in the story, especially for you, Camilla? I'm not gonna lie.
And Sarah though.
And Sarah,
because she doesn't.
Go ahead, Sarah. I'm actually pretty curious to hear what another author would share about this.
Yeah, I'm still pretty new at this whole romance and publishing thing. I think I cheat a little bit because I do a lot of enemies to lovers or like rivals to lovers. So just by default, I think that dynamic, the characters there's just always tension between the characters. So I think it's really easy for me to like draw that out through like bickering or like when the characters like accidentally see each other at some place or like they have to work together or they're in their like their forced proximity or whatever tropes I want to throw in. I think it's that's kind of how I draw it out, just by using those tropes. I don't know. That's not the greatest answer.
That is a good answer.
Yes, it is.
I mean, it's like a peek behind the pen, right? Because we all love to
behind the pen. I love that.
Okay. I know, right? I do love it. Because we all like to read that tension. We do. Like that's what keeps us there. We're like, oh, and then what else is gonna happen? Oh, that was hilarious. I mean, it keeps us engaged. And well, I think a lot of people that want to be writers and authors, they're like, how would I do that? And they need to know about these tropes. They need to know how they can do it. Because let's be honest, not everybody is a master drawer, right? Like, so some of us have natural talent.
Figures.
Like some of us have natural talent, right? And we can make it nice. But then you go to classes and now your natural talent becomes like a master talent because it's something you already had. So yes, we do need to know the techniques, because if you're trying to just write it and you're just, I'm getting confused and I don't know how, we need to know how to do something with it.
I'm not gonna lie, I need to learn that because I'm writing something currently. Camilla, how would you answer that question?
Actually, this is something I've only started to think about very recently. You'd think it's weird, but I wrote an entire romance series, and I never quite thought about what was the motor, the engine behind the way my characters got together. It felt organic to me, but I never really thought about it. And as I was writing my new title, I realized that there is a pattern for me, which is for two very different people to find something they can both relate to, and that they grow closer because of that shared life experience. And for Merchant Island, actually, they can relate to both being just weird. They have completely different lives, but when the shooting stops and they're just together in a room, you realize that these are two people who are actually very similar, who are a bit shy, who are a bit weird and quirky, and who are happy to find someone who shares their center of interest and who's just a little weird and off-kilt like them. And it was kind of the same thing in my new book. It's not about being overly quirky, but the two characters have a similar life experience, even though they literally come from different worlds. And that's what brings them together. They understand each other because they have this common thread.
So, Camilla, I wanted to, Sarah, what did you like about the Spotless? Like, what's your favorite scene? Through the Spotless series, and then number 2, who's your favorite character?
Oh my gosh. Okay, I don't know if I can pick like an all-time favorite scene because there are so many. There's so, yeah, like
book 1,
the book.
They're all just like golden in my head. But so there's a really touching scene in Butterfly and Amber where because Island has that like chip in her like in her, and it erases all of her memories. But then she's like in the motel with March, and she kind of starts to feel that emotional connection to him, even though she can't 100% remember everything that's happened. And then she gets like a flashback to when he is like saving her in the glass dome and he gets shot, and she's like, okay, I want my memories back, because they're trying to decide if she should get this surgery to remove it, even though it's really risky. And I just like that. And then they kind of like hole up under his covers and they cuddle. I thought that was so sweet. Sorry. That's like, it was just, like, because that was like multiple books of like, oh, are they gonna get together? Oh, they finally get together. Oh my God, now they're apart again. Like, oh no, they're together, yay! And then she loses her memory, and it's like, no. And that was.
I know, as we all were like, no! Collectively, I think we all did.
I was so sad at that.
Do you know that this is actually a reference to a very old French movie? This is a series of comedy movies from the 70s that's called Les Bronzés. In France, they're a group of people going on several vacations together, and they're all losers, and all sorts of hilarious and stupid stuff happens. And one of them is called Jean-Claude, and he's this very skinny, short guy, and he wants to get laid, and it never happens. And every time he's like, there's this word we say in French, je vais conclure, it's going to happen. And every time it's a running gag throughout the film series, where it's like, I feel that it's going to happen with her, it's going to happen. And every time he gets thrown in. And actually in my head, Island, it was until Butterfly and Amber that went really serious. It was kind of this running gag, there's always something, there's dolphins, there's sloth, there's your dad, there's always something, and she could never get it to happen. And in my head, she was Jean-Claude Duss. She was this guy.
That's fabulous.
Does that movie have subtitles?
Yeah, right.
I could probably look it up for you. I can send it you an email. No. You can probably find versions on YouTube with subtitles.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm like, she needs to write books. Like that. That's what she needs to do.
Yep.
So I can be entertained.
Favorite character, Sarah?
Okay, I have to say my favorite character. I mean, like, Island is like the best character I think in the series, but like my favorite character is probably March. He's such a he's a badass because he's an assassin and he does all of this crazy stuff, but he's also like a softie on the inside, and yeah.
I like his need to clean, like that. I love that very much.
Oh my goodness.
Your need to clean. I have that same like need to clean. Like I need to clean it.
In book 2, when he was sending the cleaning services, that was
like the best. That was the best. Yes, I have friends where I do that too. Oh my God, you need it.
Oh, or when he really, really just did not like the new guy.
Yeah.
Good times.
Of course, my favorite character, because I said
Go ahead. Don't talk about it. Well, no, we are done. No.
And I love the fact that in book 5, I heard the name and I was like, yes, it's like he's semi-alive. I'm so happy.
Like he's there.
Except not.
Oh goodness. I
love the plane.
This is a running gag on our show with Camilla and Winona.
The nameless one.
The nameless one. Because it was, I think I heard the no from like upstairs in the corner, and I'm like all the way in the basement. No! I'm like, what happened? Just listen to the book. All right, fine.
It was sad because when I got the book that he actually perished in, all I did was put in Kindle, and I just put his name in, and I just read the sections that he was in first. And then I was like, I'll come back and read the rest later.
It was hilarious.
But anyway,
Good times, y'all.
So, can I ask her, does Camilla's style of writing or character development influence you at all when you write?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So like, I know that Camilla and I, we write very different types of romances, but I love like all of the characters in Spotless are, they're very multidimensional and they feel like real people. And I think that's because you, Camilla, I assume you've done the work to like flesh them out really well and give them quirks and characteristics that like real people would have. And it just like, cause sometimes when you read a book or a story, the characters feel very flat and one dimensional. And like, I definitely have that problem sometimes, especially with side characters, but like all of the side characters in Spotless are brilliant. Like whether they're good guys or bad guys, even like the evil side characters are like really creepy, but like believably creepy. Like, so it kind of influences me to like, when I write my characters, like, okay, I need to think about like, oh, okay, what are their interests? What's their background? What do they like to do? Are they like messy people or are they neat freaks? Like that kind of stuff. So I feel like I look up to a lot of the Spotless characters because of how well developed they are. And I'm like, okay, well, I need to up my game and I need to develop my characters better too, because I'm kind of bad at it.
So I guess it's one of the last questions that we have because
next to the last, because we have to like let her promote book 5.
Wait, that's not even. Winona? One of the last.
One. Yes. Okay.
One, yeah. Okay, so what are 2 pieces of advice that each of you would give new people trying to make their own way in the author world?
Go ahead. Me? Oh my God, you shouldn't ask me advice about that. I have no idea what I'm doing. I honestly, I don't know because I learn on the fly. I guess that you need to write first. Obviously, it's not going to happen otherwise. And I would advise to join as many author groups as possible because this is where the information is. What you can find, when you're Googling the different topics on Google, it's just not going to be the level, the grain of information that you're going to get in an author's group, where they're going to share their experience, where you're going to get very practical tips. And I see so many authors who miss a launch or we just stumble on silly things that they could have heard about if they were in such groups, and they would have had people telling them that they had the same problem. And so it's being an indie author is 50% of it is juggling technical issues, and you need a support system, a group for that, because there's just so much stuff that you're not going to figure out on your own. And I'm saying that being someone who came from digital advertising, so technically I was a step ahead of most people who launched their business because I already knew how to do websites. I already knew how to format my books. I understood pretty well how all the platforms worked, but still there was so much I had to figure out in order just to publish a book.
Sarah.
Yeah, that's really good advice from Camilla. I also don't really know what I'm doing most days, so you could take or leave this advice and you're not going to hurt my feelings. But I would say that like it's really, really important to try to remember that like you are not in control of a lot, so try not to let things discourage you. So if you get like a rejection or if somebody passes on your manuscript or whatever rejection you encounter, try to remember that a lot of this isn't about like whether or not you wrote a good book. You could write an amazing book or manuscript. It could just be like the wrong time in the market. So try not to take things like that personally and try not to get discouraged, because sometimes it's just a matter of waiting it out for a few months and then you query something again and it works a lot better than it did when you initially queried it, which happened to me. So it's just I don't even know how to like sum up that. I would say just hang in there, but that's like terrible advice. That's like so not helpful.
Oh no, it's not bad.
No,
it's not bad advice at all.
It's not a bad advice at all, and I can see where you're coming from with that because let's be honest, like we all, as we got older or whatever, our taste in stuff changed, right? So you're like, oh, I used to hate dry wine, and now you're like, I can't get enough of dry wine, right? It's because it changed, and authors, the publishing world, and literary agents and everything, it changes. So hey, maybe you're that Merlot and instead of that Moscato.
But maybe just
yeah.
One thing because you mentioned querying and trad pubbing, if you do that, one huge piece of advice is be specific. Do not query like 100 agents because you are going to waste so much time and so much emotional energy because you're going to get 99 rejections. And if you look up a few agents first, if you do some research and you try to target very specific agents with a very specific message after you've checked what they're selling, who are their clients, what they like, so that you're certain that you're right in the right window, then you're probably going to have a much higher rate of success. And since you're querying much less people, you're going to get much less rejections, and emotionally speaking, it's going to feel better because it can be very demoralizing to wake up to 2 rejections a day. But that's what's going to happen if you just gather a list of like 100 romance agents and you just query them all.
That was
good.
That was
thank you so very much.
So
I'm not gonna lie, I enjoy waking up to rejection letters.
Like, someone is weird like that.
But I'm weird. No, my family turns my rejection letters into an entire celebration. I get cake and all sorts of stuff. So like for every rejection, there's a new slice of cake. I'm a very happy person.
It's a real celebration at this moment. We just celebrate. Like, I know that we celebrated because that meant that someone actually took the time to read the query letter. And yes, they rejected you now, but sometimes they say really cool things like, this was a very interesting query, and I had to think about it for 5 minutes before I said no. Well, fabulous. You hooked them. Celebration time.
Cake and a pie. Cake and pie.
Anyway, we're
back.
We're back.
Like real. You each have projects coming up. Oh, Camilla has one currently out, and Sarah, you have one coming out. Would you each like to talk about them?
Yes, please.
So Sarah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have in October. I have my new rom-com coming out. It's called Simmer Down. It'll be out October 13th with Berkeley Publishing. It's a rivals to lovers rom-com romance about food truck rivals in Hawaii who are competing against the same very coveted parking spot on the beach. But obviously they fall for each other in between arguing and trying to take each other down. So that will hopefully be well received by people when it comes out. And then I also have my book Faker, which is out if you want to read something now. And I have a novella that I self-published called If You Never Come Back, which is also out.
Faker is fun. I haven't read If You Never Come Back, but I'm pretty sure it's just as good.
Oh, thank you.
I know I have stuff to read.
Camilla, your book 5 out, right?
Technically, I'm not going to talk about Spotless 5, although it did come out on May 12th. But actually, I'd like to mention that I have a new book coming on January 26th, which is going to be about a stripper. Actually, I call it that, but it's not really true. It's a fantasy romance set in a world that evokes the Victorian era and that borrows from the Arthurian legend. That's something I really love, and I was traumatized as a child by John Boorman's Excalibur movie. It's a beautiful movie, and actually I do have a cover which I had not shown yet.
Oh my God.
It's called Of Blood and Light, and so yeah, this is basically Victorian romance, capybaras, and Knights of the Round Table.
Okay, so who doesn't want to read that?
I know.
It's
I do
totally
have
on
a
the list.
question for you,
No.
Camilla.
No,
You said before you might do a prequel about the lions.
I have considered it, and I have some drafts, but I did not get back to them, mostly because I was very busy on Of Blood and Light. So it could happen at some point. The only problem with that is that I feel that the stakes are low because you already know how it's going to end. So I've been wondering whether to do that or whether to just go back really much farther in time and just do maybe another series that would be in the same vein as Spotless, but in a completely different setting and era. That's something I've been toying with as well.
Oh, fabulous. We have a lot to look forward to. And thank you, Sarah and Camilla, for coming on today. We really, truly appreciate it.
Yeah, Jade, you want to wrap us up?
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
We're good. Yeah, we're good.
So
I'm sitting over here like, maybe I want to ask one more question.
No.
But I think we're good. We're good.
Okay. So you can find out everything your ladies are doing on www.andwethought.com. While you're there, take a moment, go to the ladies tab, go to the middle of the page. I actually made the images bigger because that's what I've been doing during COVID, revamping our stuff. So there's actually a little bit bigger and see the charities that we probably support. We know times are hard, so money might not be a thing you support them with. Maybe you want to think about time or even a donation or just saying to them, thank you for doing this good work in the world, because everyone needs encouragement. And no, Winona, you have nothing to say.
I do Ladies Tale podcast.
And then you can check out the Ladies Tale podcast too while you're there. It's our table read of The Manager, so that's exciting. Yeah. And you can check that out. All right, so just remember, wisdom is all around you if
you're open to finding it and accepting it. So peace and love, you guys, from Winona
and Jade. Bye-bye. Oh, thanks for listening.